Well, whether you live in a small town or maybe you're just passing through, Summerland is full of incredible stories and amazing people that will probably make you want to slow down a bit, maybe stay a while. And today I have one of those people with me, my good friend Abi Brar. Thanks so much for being here on the pod, Abi.
Thanks for having me.
Abi and his wife have raised their family here in Summerland, and Abi is actually the president of the local Kinsman Club of Summerland, and he's been with them for 8 years, 3 years as president, and is also an employee of Summerland as one of the electrical engineers. So he helps put on all types of events, some that include arm wrestling, which we'll get into. Anyway.
Thought I'd just throw them over to you. Just let me know a little bit of who you are, where you came from, and why you made this place home.
Actually was born in Penticton, grew up in Summerland, so I am a hometown boy. Was raised here, went to school here, and then I did as many small town kids do, and I left. And so I left to Calgary, and I was there for about a decade. It was a great town, really enjoyed it, but I had the opportunity to come back, and I did. I met my wife, and so the story goes, and now we're here. You're right, I'm the president of the Kinsman Club of Summerland. That's a service club that's been around for 60 years, 68 years now, I think it is. Yeah.
Is that a cross Canada thing? Is that would they have that same thing like in the States, or as far as you know, is it just like a...
It is a Canada-wide. So Kin Canada is the umbrella organization, and then there's districts and regions along with that. And we are one of the clubs in one of the towns here. Locally, we've got Kelowna that's nearby as well. There used to be a South Okanagan club, but unfortunately, like a lot of service clubs, struggling for volunteers. So we're really fortunate. We have a vibrant young club, not a ton of members, but really, really engaged in the club. So
what's the general thing that you guys do? What is the purpose of the club?
So if you have the opportunity to go around Summerland, as I know you do, you'll see a lot of the parks. They're all Kin parks, Kin Memorial Park, Kin Jogging Track. So those are all parks and what's it called? Facilities that you've helped either built completely, like the band shell, or that we've donated to. So like currently we've actually done a large donation to the new disc golf course.
Oh, right.
So that's going to be the Summerland Kinsman disc golf course.
When we heard that Summerland was doing one, I was super pumped.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine, Dustin, he hooked me up with a little set of the different discs, and it's so fun.
I think it speaks exactly to Kinsman's sort of mandate. It's accessible to everybody. Yeah. It's something that is available and open to the community, and that's like a lot of the parks and jogging tracks and the rest of it. So service clubs are something that's been hard to maintain, but they've done a tremendous amount in communities throughout Canada. That's been the wonderful part of them. Kinsman Summerland has been really, really influential in terms of those sort of parks and facilities and events. Some of the other events we do, Action Fest we're a part of. We've done the beer gardens for over 40 years there. We've hosted the longest running arm wrestling tournament in Canada. Okay. And actually in North America. And now it may be certified in the world.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty that's one of my favorite things. We have a festival, Action Fest in Summerland. And one of the best things is just to go down into the park and just watch. Because again, like you have some people that show up that are proper full-on arm wrestlers. This is what they do. And then it's like, you can be like, hey, buddy, you and me, let's do this. And then you can go and then there's people watching, and like it's a pretty fun event actually.
Oh, it's super awesome. Yeah. So we do that. We do some events for kids at Light Up. We do the polar bear dip, which is always a super popular one. So we've always hosted and facilitated that down at Sunoka Beach. So
you go in the water?
So it's an initiation routine that every Kinsman's got to do it at least once.
Okay.
I've done it once. Okay. My wife is the braver of us. She does it almost every year now.
Yeah. So you're basically on the beach with the big loud horn kind of time, the junk infinite thing?
That's right. The megaphone, just doing the countdown and getting everybody jazzed up. So
that's pretty sweet. Do you recall what the coldest year has been?
It's got to be about 4 or 5 years ago. And it was not only like -20, it was wind like you've never seen. Yeah. Just blowing snow up off of it. We thought like nobody's going to show up.
Yeah.
No, we were only down maybe 25%.
Really?
Like it was amazing. I'd say there's like 300 to 400 people going in the water.
Yep.
And there's, you know, with everybody on the beach, it can vary anywhere from like 700 to 1,000 people just like on the beach, roaming around. So
Gotcha. I went for the first time maybe 2 years ago, and it was like the year to go because it was super mild. The water wasn't that cold. It was like nice out, no wind. I don't know if there was a lick of snow even on the mountains yet. So that was like the year to go. And, but yeah, I couldn't imagine doing the minus 20. And then the water temperature must have been just ridiculous. But then the wind.
So the tips are like, have your sandals or shoes.
Okay.
That's a big one. If you can go in there with them, even better, because it's your feet. And then you need something right away. You need like a support team to get you bundled up the minute you get out of there. So that's the key.
Okay, so then tell me a little bit about, so obviously you went to Calgary, and I also know though that you went back to school later on in life. Like you went back to university to do this whole electrical engineer thing quite a bit later. How did that happen?
So I was fortunate when I moved back. I met my wonderful wife pretty much right away, Michelle, and she really encouraged me to sort of make the most of myself. And I wasn't super happy about what I was doing at the time, and so we went back. We were fortunate that we had a good support system. And I went back to UBCO. It was interesting because I had planned on being there full time, like driving, being there back and forth. And then all of a sudden we had the global epidemic. And so as a result of that, I actually ended up, now thinking back, fortunately, doing a lot of that from home. And in that time, we also had our 2 sons. So I really got an awesome chance to see them when they were growing up.
So it's the pandemic. You're full on in university at home with 2 kids.
That's right.
That's crazy.
I think my best memory is bouncing my first son in a holder in my chest here while I was studying for exam, just bouncing up and down, standing at the bar. It was fun times. But
And so was your wife already? She had gone through her schooling.
Yeah.
And is she a speech pathologist? What's her actual title?
Speech language pathologist.
Right. And you're saying, what is the actual work that she was? You had explained a little bit to me what she actually does, who she works for, but the type of technologies that she's working with.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. She works for organization Kaya that works with adults and youth that are transitioning out of the school system and works with assistive technologies. So anything from like flipboards, from the most basic, to Stephen Hawking style, like voice banking. And so she'll take those that are losing their voice, bank their voice, have that synthesized, and they're able to use that voice later on in their life when they themselves can't speak. Yeah, it's pretty tremendous work.
No kidding. That's really cool. Okay, no, that's interesting. So before we get into other stuff, there's this other little thing I mentioned. I didn't tell you what it was, but this is a quick little way to kind of get to know you. Maybe it'll expose some of your quirks and quarks, or whatever you say. But okay, so question is, what's your breakfast routine? What do you do for breakfast every day?
Oh, I'm a simple guy. I get my drip coffee, local. So backyard beans, they're literally in my backyard, which is awesome.
Sweet.
So throw those on, drip coffee, get that going. And then bagel. I'm a simple guy. Bagel, cream cheese, that's it. Okay. And take it to work. Yeah. And then I can sort of ease into the day.
Okay, so now this is where I start to like dive in and kind of get to the nitty-gritty. Okay, so what kind of bagel is this?
Everything bagel.
Everything. So is this you go and get it from Kinney's or something?
Nope. It is at home. We buy it. It's a Dempster's everything bagel. Real simple.
Okay, so what's in everything? So is this like a white bread with seeds and it has all kinds of stuff in it?
All kinds of seeds and
any like dried jalapeno?
That's like a vacation bagel for me.
Okay.
The jalapeno and cheddar, like Costco bagel, that's the vacation bagel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you toast this in the morning?
I do a toast on it, and then I do a cream cheese, a herb and garlic cream cheese.
Herb and garlic.
That's on. Or butter. That's not around.
So because again, from my knowledge of bagels, you often have to sometimes double toast them to actually get them properly toasted. Are you like a double toaster, or you're like, no, I just like it to be warm and slightly?
No, we have a bagel setting on our toaster.
Oh, okay.
This is a critical thing. Okay. Use the bagel setting. It'll toast the inside of it for you and keep the outside like it's supposed to be.
Okay. So do you get up in the morning, you make your coffee, and you take your breakfast and your coffee out the door? So this isn't something that you enjoy in the morning at home? Is it like on the road in the car thing, or once you get to the office?
Once I get to the office, because my commute, wonderfully, is, as you mentioned, I work for the city of Summerland. So my commute is very short.
Yeah.
I barely get time to turn on the radio and turn it off. So it's, yeah, that's what I do. I am up earlier than everybody in the house. Everybody still asleep. So I'm at work at about 7 o'clock. And
Yeah.
so I kind of just do that.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so are you a cream and sugar guy? Or are you
Just cream.
just cream?
Just cream.
Okay. Because again, I made you a coffee here and you opted for the mocha, which is a sweet drink. So that's something special. That's like a vacation.
It's a special one.
That's such a vacation, babe. As far as getting to the small town talk, would you say that there's anything specifically that you can think of that makes you a small town guy? Like, you're a small town guy because this. Is there anything that you can think of that?
You get to know a lot of people.
Sure.
So I think the people in the community, as I'm sure you would agree, is they're amazing, right? Like that's the best part. You walk down the street, I'm never going to go out and not see somebody I know.
Sure.
So
You like that?
I do. I think overall I enjoy that. Yeah. There are times where you just want to sneak in, sneak out. And my wife has questioned me like, so why'd that 25-minute test take an hour?
Right.
Oh, well, I run into so-and-such and so-and-such and so-and-such.
The kinsmen also working for the city, both of those things are very community related, right? And so as far as that's concerned, being let's take the job of actually working for the city and being an electrical engineer.
So I'll correct you for just a sec.
Okay.
So I still have about a year until I get my PEng or professional engineering degree. Then I will work as an engineer.
Okay.
Right now I work as an engineering technician with the title of EIT. So I work on the electrical utility side of things, which is pretty awesome. I get to see a lot of the projects that are going in, like some of the major projects going downtown right now, the bigger buildings that are going in, all of their electrical needs.
Sure.
And then everything from, hey, I need more power at my house.
Gotcha.
How do I get this?
Yeah.
And the wonderful part is we aren't a bigger city where it's Fortis or BC Hydro or a lot of these, and it can be very impersonal. I can talk to people sometimes during some of their most stressful times. They're building a house, and I can, that sort of like connection of, hey, I grew up with you, or hey, I went to school with you, or hey, your brother was not a friend of mine.
Sure.
It helps to ease that tension and allow them to know that we are actually on their side. We're trying to help them out. We're trying to get them where they need to be.
Gotcha.
And that's great. It does put you under the spotlight because your phone number becomes very open.
So again, you grew up in Summerland and you grew up playing hockey in Summerland, is that correct?
Yeah, I did.
So what was that like growing up here, and then again now playing beer league with the guys? Is that still something that you do?
I do. I do the beer league out of Penticton and done some stuff out of Summerland as well. So I have a team out of Penticton that I play with a lot of the Summerland guys, and you know what? It's amazing. It's amazing to see. My son actually started hockey this year, and there was a lot of things that everybody has their kids going to their first day or their kids going wherever it might be. And that's their emotional trigger. For me, it was the day that I went shopping with my son to get hockey equipment. Right. It was the funniest thing, but I found myself sitting there being like, I remember when my dad did this. And to have some of the same people that I played hockey with, their kids now going and playing hockey.
Okay.
And now be able to get on the ice, coach, help. And there's an element of trust in there as well to say, like, you're going to have my best interest in work, which is nice.
So we talked about some of the small town things. As far as like a rush hour of Summerland, what is the equivalent?
I would say tractors.
Why tractors?
Because it is a small town, and you see tractors, and they are all over the roads at certain times of the year in the season. Whether it's spring season or it's mowing or it's picking and harvesting season. They're all over the road. And the beauty of it is nobody ever gets upset at a tractor.
No.
Nope. Not in this town. I mean, one of those unwritten rules is sort of like everybody waves at the guy on the tractor.
Sure.
That's what you do. And you wait, so you get past and nobody gets upset about it. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So being agriculture is still a pretty big part of this town. I grew up with a family that had farms, and we still do.
Is that what your parents did? Was it agriculture?
Yeah, absolutely. We have orchards, and we still do have orchards. So, that's my unofficial second job is to help out with making sure that equipment's still going. And
gotcha.
Yeah.
Another question is basically what what do local like traditions or events, how do those have a role in Summerland? Like how do you see that?
So, being directly a part of, a couple of major events, whether it's Action Fest or Light Up, those are huge. They're community gathering events, right? They open up the community to both newcomers, visitors, and a lot of individuals that have been established for a while or even for a few years. Sometimes new residents might not hear about these things for a year or two. They come out and they go, oh my goodness, I didn't know that there were so many people here. I didn't know there were so many young families here. I didn't know these businesses even existed, or that's what they did, or community groups. And it builds community. It allows us to bring in, revenue, even just dollars to this town, and having a beautiful downtown, having traditions, having events. Those are things that bring people in and allow Summerland to stay small, but independent.
Sure.
As much as possible.
Yeah.
So those are tremendous.
That makes sense. When you think of, you're involved in all of these different community events in multiple ways. A lot of it is in the infrastructure and understanding that, and a lot of it would be organizing and delegating and all that. Do you find, what are the most common, I don't want to say complaints, but every town has the people that if there's always something to complain about, and sometimes they don't realize the amount of work that's already gone into it, the amount of council meetings, and the amount of information online, and the amount of things that they just what is that like for you to deal with? Because that's obviously part of the job.
Yeah, it's absolutely a part of the job. And I don't think I would have taken this job without that understanding, and knowing that there was going to be a lot of people have their perspective on what's important to them. And you have to remember that. You have to remember that what's important to me, what's important to you, and what's important to the overall goal of the town is not necessarily the same as an individual who's partakes in one event a year or no events a year, or they just want to get down the road without potholes. And so they see a lot of spending, or they see a lot of, advancement of sort of the community. They find that frivolous, that spending. So that can be challenging to explain that as an overall, this is going to be a benefit to the town. It's going to bring in more dollars. It's going to provide for more opportunity for businesses to be here, for tax dollars to be generated, to be able to create the community that you want, to maintain the community that you want. We can't do it with a status quo. That's just, unfortunately, not how it works.
Yeah.
So the complaints are often spending, but that's a reasonable complaint.
Totally.
Right? Where are my tax dollars going?
Yeah.
Very, very few people have a problem with spending the tax dollars. They want to know where it goes and the transparency around it. And that is completely understandable. So being able to explain the steps that have been taken, and that information that you talked about that is available, could the city be better at outreach? Possibly, but it's gotten better. So I remember when I was a kid, we didn't hear anything. Things just happened. So, now we have social media, we have web pages, we have a lot of information that is available. And sometimes it's just helping people find that information so they can get the answers that they need.
Yeah.
So that's probably what we deal with a lot, and understanding the processes and what is fair. Fair is always a big question. Well, that doesn't seem fair.
Sure.
But that's the perspective of one side.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. And it's interesting. And we talked about this a little bit before, just as you get older, you start to see those things differently. Right. And you start to maybe not quite as quick to judge, maybe a little bit quicker to ask a question. That's the hope. And those people afterwards realize, oh, okay, all of a sudden there is businesses that are thriving, and all of a sudden there is a place for the youth to go. And now we have a skate park, and now we have a good ball field, and now we have all those different things, right?
It's funny you bring up skate park. It was something that came up when we were on vacation not too long ago. And one of the reasons that we stopped in a small town was because it had a skate park. And we could have stopped at many other places, but we knew we had the kids with us. We knew we had their scooters, and that was something they wanted to check out. They didn't necessarily go scootering all that much or anything, but they wanted to watch.
Yeah.
And it was a way for us to be able to take our family somewhere, and my wife to be able to go and enjoy a little bit of shopping or a little bit of browsing while the kids had something to do.
Sure.
So people don't say, and that was a town of 9,000, right, on the island. So we're not talking about big places.
Right.
But every one of those little events and every one of those things, she spent money in that town, and they provided something for their own youth as well as other youth.
Yeah.
So oftentimes it seems frivolous or trivial.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, but I get the idea of keeping watch on your money and the government. Not to get too large about it, but I mean, the foundations of democracy in a lot of ways are this ability to ask questions. In our town, it's quite small.
Yeah.
But we have to have those places, the checks and balances in place, just like anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I'm open to them.
Yeah.
Because I want this city to move forward responsibly.
Yeah. It's cool because you also lived in Calgary, like you said, so a bigger city for 10 years. And again, it's not a bag on cities. Like, again, there's amazing cities with amazing culture and amazing things to do. And just like there is in a small town, what would you say are the kind of the pros and cons that you find living in a small town? Like, what are the things that you really like? What are the things that you maybe you miss out on? Is there anything that comes to mind specifically?
You know, there is a lot of culture that can be found in cities, and that's the wonderful thing. I do find the nice thing is where we're located, we're not that far from it, whether it be a flight or whether it be driving down to Vancouver to, you know, take in some museums and some culture downtown and a lot of the arts that are there. But it's enough that I don't believe a lot of people in the city are taking advantage of those on a daily basis. It's also a special event for them. So for us, it's another special event. We go, we check it out. So we're able to take care of that. The accessibility is really nice in cities. I mean, whether it's, you know, you just want to buy something. It's much easier to walk down the street and just get something. But I mean, the advent of online shopping, it's very easy to get what you want nowadays in these towns. But I mean, jobs is always a big one. Like, I'm really fortunate. Yeah, I work for the city. It's awesome. But jobs can be a struggle in small towns. That's for sure. You know, there can be a big gap there. But there is at least the advantage that a lot of people that I know have moved back from large cities. A large number of individuals that I know, but they're still working for companies in those large cities.
Would you get a certain sense of, like, if you were to say why so many of those people do come back to a smaller town, would you say there's something in common? Is there a thing that you hear or a reason for that comes to mind?
I wanted to raise my kids here.
Yeah.
That's a huge one.
Yeah.
It's probably a massive factor in the end. I mean, even the difference between choosing Penticton or Summerland, nothing against Penticton. It's for us and for my wife and I, when we were looking for a home, we looked at Summerland. That was where we were going to go. It's an amazing place. My parents emigrated from India in the early 80s, and that was the same reason.
Right.
It was for their family, for their kids. They wanted to raise them there where it was, you know, safer, better, more opportunity. And I think they nailed it.
Yeah.
When they showed up in Summerland. You know, they started in Penticton, moved to Summerland, and they nailed it. And so having been able to travel to, whether it's India, Europe a little bit, you know, and just within Canada and the US, you gain an appreciation. I think it's almost cliche that, you never know, you know, grass is greener, etc.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It's an amazing small town.
Yeah.
Yes, it's got its problems. Yes, we have to fix some roads, but we have committed people that want to make it better. And that's a huge element of this, is there are people here that want to make Summerland a better town. Which is great. And you know those people.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
They're not a figurehead on TV. They're your neighbor.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's a big thing that comes up often is people want to raise their family in a small town. And I mean, part of you wants to just dive in a little bit. Like, why is that? Like, what is it about small town that people are like, I don't want to raise my kids in a city? Like, again, and I don't think, like I said, I don't want to bag on cities, but like, is it opportunity? Is it a lifestyle? Is it the values? Is there anything that stands out to you specifically that?
I mean, Summerland is pretty unique in that we have like this beautiful lake. It's a destination spot for other people. So if you can make your living there, you know, yesterday we were at the beach and we kind of looked at each other and went like, why don't we just do this every evening? Like, just come down here for an hour. Yeah. But we can. Right. You know, safety, that's a huge one. People always talk about cities versus small towns. Yes. I think you can get into plenty of trouble as kids in either place.
Sure.
But I think it's that safety of like when my kids go down and walk down the street or there was, you know, as small town as it gets, hey, we saw a marmot jumping into the back of underneath the SUV.
Right.
My neighbors told me that.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems hilarious. But
totally.
They messaged me and said, hey, we saw this, Abby.
Yes.
You know, like, you're not going to get that in a lot of places. So your neighbors they want to be there. They want to be committed to the neighborhood. So that lends to that safety element, right? I think that has a lot to do with it. Knowing my parents knew every one of my friends' parents, every one of them, right? And that is a huge element of it. So it's not just the safety, it's the support. It's the ability to give your kids the support that they deserve. And, and I'm able to do that. We're able to do that. And that comes along with a community.
Right.
Your children are not raised by just two parents.
Yeah. And part of it too is like even the school systems, like you often know the teachers, you know the principal, you know their kids, you've gone to school with them, and these people are coming back. And so there is that.
Yeah, like I don't want to bag on cities because, as you said, like I had a great time for sure in Calgary. It was very good to me. It was a lot of my formative years. I was able to create a lot of connections that I still have. But when given the opportunity, I came back here. My brother's in a situation where he's in a bit of a, he's got a great career there. He's well established, all of those things there, but he still wants to come back.
Think it will?
Hopefully. I would love to have him back here. I mean, he's got the supports here, with family and my family now.
Yeah.
Michelle's sister, they came here.
Yeah.
When they saw us buy a house, they helped us move in.
Yeah.
They were around, and then they went, seems like a pretty good place to go.
Yeah, totally.
So they got a house, they sold their condo, and that's another thing. You sell your condo in Vancouver, you come here and you buy a house that backs onto the elementary school.
Yes.
Field. Like that's
a pretty common story from people that owned a property in the city,
Yeah.
but can then come to this small town and like all of a sudden they're looking from their 2-bedroom little place to like a beautiful
family home.
Yeah.
It's pretty tremendous. And I mean, I'm fortunate. So I'm not saying that that's like, hey, just do that because you can.
Absolutely.
But given the opportunity, who wouldn't?
Yes.
A lot of wins. So
well, and that's the other thing too, is I think I have to remember, it's so easy to take for granted a lot of those blessings. A lot of those things are like, we are so fortunate. I couldn't have been in this place without the help of my in-laws and my parents. Like they had a house burned down over here and then they subdivided the lot and like, hey, you want to build a house here on the lot? I'm like, well, thank you very much. Cause I should probably be living in a little trailer somewhere and I'd be fine with that.
Yeah.
I grew up in a trailer and I'd be happy to die in one, but I am super blessed and to be able to be in a place like this. Because again, as we know in Canada right now, it is so hard for people to be able to get a house, to be able to get into the market. And, like it's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I mean, we, during the pandemic, we ended up renting our house out and moving in with my parents.
Yeah.
That was great, but I had that option.
Yeah.
And again, that's a, fortunate situation.
Yeah.
And could we have survived in that? Yeah, sure. But we wouldn't have been able to have the life that we do. And that's super fortunate. When I left Calgary, I had a landing spot. I didn't have to find it right away. Okay. I was there. So these are the fortunate things of that. So small towns can be tough in that regards to like, so that is why I think you see that exodus, that like establishment, and then coming back and having that ability.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. How is small town part of your identity?
I probably, having grown up, I there's probably a lot of things that I am interested in that I probably wouldn't have been.
Sure.
Off-roading, wanting to go out in the bush, a lot more camping.
Sure.
There's a lot of immigrants to Canada. I mean, the vast majority of us are.
Yeah, for sure.
My parents were, but we grew up, like, we didn't camp. I mean, the funniest story I always tell is, like, my parents would always look at us and be like, why are you going camping? We worked so hard to get this nice, comfortable, air-conditioned place. Why would we want to go out?
Yes.
So a lot of those things I'm not sure that I would have necessarily gotten into, which I really enjoy. And I'm really, but I often tell my kids, like, I'm still learning to camp. So that a lot of those things are very small town. A lot of the like, hey, come by and have a drink at the shop.
Sure.
Like there's a lot of that identity I think that wouldn't have been there. I like working on my own cars. I like wrenching on them. Not that people in cities don't. There's a huge scene for a lot of these things, but yeah, I don't think that I would have necessarily, having grown up in a bigger city.
Yeah. Even like you said, the Indo-Canadian culture in Summerland is pretty huge. And I guess one question is like, how long do you feel like it takes for like, let's say for your family, and then maybe thinking of your kids and their kids, like because obviously culture is such an important part of your life. How do you kind of balance that thing of being like, okay, I'm here and I'm off-road and I'm camping, but I also have this tradition and this culture from my parents and from where they're from? What's that like?
Yeah, growing up, you lived in two cultures, right? And it was that slow struggle to pull them together as much as possible. And, so it took a long time. It took a very, very long time. There were certain things that I didn't do around my parents or with, including my family until I was, well into my late 20s. And, so it's a struggle because you go to school and there's one thing going on and you come home and it's entirely different. I mean, my parents were really great at that. They came over very well educated. They both had their degrees and mom's was in a master's in poli-sci and dad had an agricultural degree. And that's what pulled them to this region as well a lot. And so they both knew English and it was easy that way at least. But my grandmother didn't speak a lick of English. I know Punjabi because of her, and it's almost entirely because of her. I think that now, before it was like, oh, grandma, learn English.
Sure.
Now I think back and I go, wow, that's an amazing thing because it keeps you connected to the culture. Right. That's my worry is that I'm not going to be able to keep that connection going. But it's a long throw. My dad was really great because he just said, you take all the good and you leave all the crap of all the cultures.
Sure.
So he was really great that way. Mom was very forward thinking as well. And so we were able to participate in stuff that they weren't comfortable with necessarily. Right. Like when there's a camp for kids that, we went out to a cabin. It was it wasn't a Boy Scouts, but it was a similar type of thing. My mom, I remember, she's like, well, we don't have sleeping bags. We don't have any of these things, but let's go get them.
Sure.
So they were really great that way. They never stopped us. My dad gained a huge interest in hockey right away. I mean, he, the minute he got off the flight from India, he went and he was watching hockey. And the first night, and he went, what's this?
Yeah.
And so in his mind, his kids were going to play hockey. And so we play hockey. We loved it. And it's something we've been able to hold on. We weren't NHL superstars, and as many of us are, but it's a lifelong thing that I can participate in. So they were both willing to do that. But we also went to the weddings, the ceremonies, all the rest of it. And it really, and knowing that I have so much family, even in the area or internationally, that's still willing to help me out.
Yeah.
It really drives home the idea of that and the strength of culture, but all those families have amalgamated both of those elements of culture, right? Like we've really tried to keep the good.
Yes. Yeah.
And just leave what's not awesome behind.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. It's interesting because, again, I mean, when I think of a lot of the Indo-Canadian, the hockey craze too, like, there's some of the biggest fans that they're crazy for hockey. And I love it. Right. I mean, we have Singer. That's one of the commentators, for hockey, one of the biggest commentators in Canada, he's an Indo-Canadian. He loves it. And now they have their own like full on
Punjabi broadcast.
Broadcast. Right.
Yeah.
My assumption when I was in Australia, I remember I watched a decent amount of rugby, but also cricket was a big thing. And a lot of the best cricketers were from India. And that was a big thing. So was that something your dad was into back home, or was that...
My dad definitely played a bit of cricket. He also played field hockey, which, while considered more of a, it was more of a female-oriented sport when I was growing up in Canada. It was huge as both a male and female sport in India.
Okay.
So... my grandfather played. He actually got accepted, I think, to the national team at one point. So there is that level of, so I think that probably drove a bit of it. And then he went, whoa, this is fun.
Yeah.
Faster. Yeah. And he loved the combination of the hitting, the grinding, the talent, all of it. And just really appealed to him. And I think it's, and there's huge concentration within the Vancouver area, the Great Vancouver area of Indo-Canadians. So you have a local team and it's a very passionate fan base.
Yeah.
So it's all sort of pulled that in. I mean, it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
All right. As a small towner, what's the most small town thing that's happened to you? Maybe happens on a regular basis, or maybe it's at one instance.
It's funny. I would say it's something that's happened outside of the small town about the small town.
Okay.
And it is meeting people from all over the place.
Yeah.
And whether it's, on Vancouver Island, Ottawa, etc., anywhere it might be. One that comes to mind is Ottawa. We were at my wife's sister, one of them lives in Ottawa.
Okay.
And we went there and they had new neighbors.
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, so they were in Calgary. And I went, oh, cool. And she goes, I meet the husband who was there, and he says, yeah, my wife was in Calgary. She actually knows someone in Summerland. Okay, who's that?
Yeah.
So and such. And I go, oh yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah.
That's so and such that I buy parts from their wife.
Of course.
And the number of times this has happened and people go, oh, well, I don't think you'd know them. Well, what's their last name?
Yes.
They throw out a last name.
Yeah.
I was in school in Kamloops.
Yeah.
At Gartrell. I mean, very common in Summerland. I go, do you have any family in Summerland? She goes, all of them.
Of course.
So that is a very small town where you literally, it's that old commercial with, do you know John in Canada? Well, maybe not that extent, but do you know so and such in Summerland? Yeah, probably. And if I don't, somebody I know does.
Yeah.
And that's the very small town experience for sure.
Yeah. Usually that conversation ends if it's about a city. Oh, everybody that lives in Calgary. And they're like, oh, cool. And that's that's where it ends. You don't ask about last names or anything like that. Yeah, small. And another person that I had on, actually, they made a good point that it's kind of, you're only one or two people removed from anyone in town. Right?
There's no 6 degrees here.
Again, in general, I'm sure every town has its own mystery or is some kind of thing that everybody believes or folklore. Is there anything like that or that you see in some of them?
Ooh, so the one that was really interesting to me is that there was a perpetual slide. I'm not sure if you knew this in Summerland.
We say slide. What
like this slide of a slide has continuously been going for as long as they've been reporting it. So up Trout Creek,
okay,
near the golf course, there is a section of that, kind of by the sand dunes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Out by the cemetery.
Well, this is as small town as it gets. I can tell you that, and I can tell you not a single road,
Of course.
but I can tell you know where it is. So up there's that sand dune area has been sliding for at least 100 years.
So is that why they've been repairing the road up there?
No, that's a separate section.
Oh, really?
Interesting. Oh, the road? Yeah, probably. Actually, the road up there, yeah.
Because I know that road was sloughing away, and they had signs along there that say, don't go past here because of quicksand. They have quicksand signs. Have you seen those?
Yeah. Seen those pictures as well, because we played in that stuff all the time.
Absolutely.
And, but yeah, over towards Trout Creek, there's a section. But the reason that it doesn't block up Trout Creek, as I've learned, is it goes and then the creek undercuts it constantly.
It takes it out to the lake.
And takes it out to the lake. And it constantly beds it. And a lot of the remediation work, unfortunately, has been sort of put to the side because of this, because all of that sand keeps making sandy beaches out of these remediated areas. Yeah, and so these other slides that have happened recently are on the Penticton side of Trout Creek. They're separate. But you look back at it, there is stuff from 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, records of this, like, hey, what do we do with this? Has anybody seen anything?
Yeah.
Updates? I had no idea.
Me neither. I had no idea. That makes sense because, again, part of me goes like, well, why wouldn't it block the creek?
Yeah, that's what my thought
it just keeps taking, because it's all, because I guess a lot of it is more sediment or a lot of, I don't know what's like the kind of the silt that a lot of the cliffs are around there.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just been undercutting it as much as it comes under. It undercuts it and slightly changes the path just over the years, but barely.
And it's funny because I've also always wondered, where does all the sand come from? Because there's lots of lakes around Canada and like they're all rock beaches or like that. Like, where's all this sand come? We have like some of the most beautiful sand beaches in Canada. Yeah. And I'm like, that's where it's coming from, or a lot of it?
Well, so that's another thing. Growing up in Summerland, we had these beautiful sand beaches, and I go other places and people go, oh yeah, no, we've got like a sandy beach. And I was like, what other kind of beach is it?
Yeah, right.
And obviously I got exposed to like, oh, most beaches are not like this at all.
Yeah.
So
I always thought for a long time that they trucked in the sand or something like that, because I know there's a lot of places where they truck in sand, and we just have like tons of it. It's crazy. Okay, so basically to wrap things up, I'm going to give you kind of the lightning round questions that I give to all my guests. I kind of tailor these a little bit depending on the guests, and so this is for you to answer as quick as possible. That would be pretty snappy with it. You can give me a little bit of answer longer if you have to, but let's try to keep it quick. All right. We're going to start off at the top. Your first question is wings, hot or honey garlic?
It's hot.
Comedy or action?
Action comedy.
Action comedy, good. Handshake or high five?
Handshake.
Okay. Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Yes. Okay. David or Crosby?
Crosby.
Okay. Crosby or Gretzky?
Crosby.
Okay. Interesting. You're the first person I think that's actually not gone Gretzky, and I appreciate that because I'm also a really big Crosby fan. But okay, the Joker or Lex Luthor? Okay, we're getting to villains here.
Joker.
Joker. Okay, more villains. Darth Vader or Voldemort? I don't know if you're a Harry Potter guy at all, so.
Yeah. Star Wars is probably more my. Yeah.
So Vader.
Vader. Yeah.
Okay, more villains. Kachuk or Marchand?
Marchand.
Yep. As in the bigger villain, or you just like him better?
Both.
Okay.
I think he's the better villain, and I think he's the guy I want on my team, but I don't want to play against him.
Absolutely. It seems like that's the common thread that comes out all the time.
In Vancouver, it was Alex Burrows, who's the same guy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Closest that we had locally.
Yeah. And then again, I'm in Lewiston, so it was a bit of a parry. Like I hated him when he wasn't for us, but when he was playing for us, I'm like, I love B-Ray. That's it. Okay. Sriracha or Frank's?
Sriracha.
Nachos or wings?
Come on now. That's the one nachos.
Nachos.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. If you had to get do this to get everywhere you go, handsprings or have to do the greedy everywhere you go?
The what?
The greedy?
I do not want the greedy.
Maybe your kids are. My kids are at the age where the gritty is like a type of like celebration, sports. It's like this weird kind of like Skippy. I'm not definitely gonna do it. My kids will kill me. Okay, so we'll just say you would handspring. The other one I asked you was, I think it was walk backwards or skip everywhere you had to go.
Ooh, skip.
Okay, that would be fun. I'd like to see.
That'd be a great shape too.
Yeah, totally. Joke to work. Hey boys. Chevy or Ford?
Ford.
Okay.
That one. That's a good question for a buddy of mine and sitting in around a campfire.
Stick shift or run back?
Ooh, stick shift.
Okay. Rodeo or rib fest?
A lot of talent at rodeo, a lot of good eats at Rib Fest, so Rib Fest.
Good. Roller coaster or water slide?
Oh, these are good questions. Hang
on.
Roller coaster.
Yeah. Bagpipes or banjo?
Bagpipes.
Yes. And a lot of people go banjo because they just, there's some book that, but there's some that look at that.
I love
Ireland.
I love the scale of bagpipes, right? Like it's just so big, the sound, right? It's enveloping.
Right.
I love that about it.
Okay, so I said you went to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Now I could get in a lot of trouble here. This is terrible of me. Is bagpipes an Ireland and Scotland thing?
I think it's more of a Scottish thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I hear when I think of like Scottish bagpipes. I don't think of Ireland bagpipes. But is it a
Gaelic? I think the Gaelic, maybe. Yeah, but I don't know if that was a thing. I think it's more of a Scottish thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there also was like the penny whistle. It's like that little kind of like thing, the little fluty thing.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I should probably stop. Okay. Apple or peach?
Peach.
Okay. Did your family...
But nectarine more than peach. Even.
Nectarine. See, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Because I love a nectar because it's almost like a peach, but it doesn't have the fuzz.
So I have a thing with fruit.
Okay.
There's a little. So I don't really eat cherries much because I have like both wonderful and terrible memories about cherries.
Okay.
We had lots of them, but I used to have to grade them.
Grade?
After everybody was done picking, we have to sit down and grade thousands of pounds of cherries.
Okay, so I'm assuming your family, you did some agriculture in cherry specifically?
We did cherries, peaches, plums, nectarines, everything. We still do. We still have huge, yeah. So, but I grew up so cherries for me it's a love-hate thing, right? Mm-hmm. They're wonderful, but I have such a thing where I've had to grade these because we sold them directly. We didn't go to the co-op. It was just not how my dad did his business. And so we would have to have them ready to sell.
Yeah.
And so after sitting there, like in an orchard at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at 35 degrees, sorting cherries, you sort of get put off a little bit.
Sure.
Peaches was similar. When you have to pick peaches, you have to be fully clothed, like 100%, gloves, full sleeves, like a mask around you, basically.
Why?
the fuzz.
Oh, it is.
While it's such a wonderful fuzz with one peach or two peaches, it will burn
Oh, interesting.
after a while when you've been picking them.
Kind of like working with insulation in your house, like the old.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's exactly like that. And so you're doing this and you're picking them and they require such a delicate touch, or otherwise you ruin them. I love peaches, I really do, but I have this like, nope, nectarine had just be easier with other kids.
So really, it actually comes down to not so much the taste and how much you enjoy it. It actually is more the experience and the trauma that was experienced.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Braveheart or Gladiator?
Braveheart.
Okay.
It's a tough one though.
It is a tough one. Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise?
Hanks.
Tom Brady or Tom Hardy?
Hardy.
Okay. Denzel or Tom Hardy? Who was your favorite? First of all, who was your favorite out of all the Toms? We had Hanks, Cruise, Brady, and Hardy. Who's your favorite? Hardy? Denzel or Tom Hardy?
Hardy.
Okay. Yeah, you're a big fan. That's good. That's good. Okay, are you a clappy guy or a cheer guy?
Cheer.
Cheer, yeah. Peanut butter, smooth or crunchy?
Crunchy.
Okay. Dunk or buzzard eater?
Buzzer beater.
Okay. Walk-off home run or overtime snipe?
Overtime snipe.
And you did. Okay. Skydive or bungee jump?
Skydive.
Yeah. Have you done either or?
No, I haven't. Interestingly enough. Nope.
I have done bungee jumping. I haven't done the skydiving, and I've heard a mixed reviews. Some people say that the skydiving, you're so high, it's crazy jumping on an airplane. But they also say that you don't have the sensation of the ground coming up to you and you're just whatever that. Whereas bungee jumping, I'm like, you're like so close to like my life almost ended. And I don't know. I haven't skydived.
I feel like these are one of those things that I either gotta wait till my kids to get a little older now.
Yes.
It was either before kids or like once they get a little older.
Agree. Yeah. So is it I skydived? Skydiving?
Skydove.
I skydived?
Skydived.
What are we? Okay, Batman or Wolverine?
Wolverine.
Okay. Cashew or pistachio?
Ooh.
That's always a hard one for people.
Cashew. And did you know that cashew, do you know how they're grown?
I do actually. I saw that. Aren't they like more of a fruit? They're not actually like.
Just discovered this. Blew my mind.
Yeah.
There's a cashew apple, like the fruit,
right?
that it is on the bottom of.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. Had no idea.
Yeah. So I said, like, can you eat the fruit? Because I think you can eat it, but it's not like a sought after thing.
It's not the sought after thing, but it definitely, yeah.
Interesting.
My wife
I wonder if you
told me this, and I was like, how do I not know this?
Have you ever had the apple before? Have you ever seen it? Or
I've never had it.
I wonder if we can get our hands on one.
We should try.
Interesting. Okay. Salad with or without fruit?
Without.
Yes. Right?
Without. The only salad with fruit is a fruit salad.
Oh, okay, good.
That's it.
Perfect. Paintball or laser tag?
Ooh, paintball.
Okay. Pie or cake?
Cake.
Even with all the fruit and
Oh,
you're like, okay, yeah. You've had it with the fruit. Okay. Board game or video game?
Board game these days.
Okay. Arcade or console?
Neither. PC?
Okay. Yep. Grey Cup or Super Bowl?
Grey Cup.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Grey Cup or Stanley Cup?
Stanley Cup.
Okay. So you said you have a brother?
Yeah.
Older or younger?
Younger.
How much?
15 months.
15 months. So very close.
Very close.
So this is to do with you and your brother then. Okay. Kick or punch?
Ooh. Throw.
Throw. Okay. There's more here. So you got to
Okay, punch.
Okay. Slap or scratch?
I find slaps so insulting that I'd have to scratch him. I couldn't do that to him.
That was like, okay. Pinch or poke?
Ooh, poke.
Hair pull or bite?
Hair pull.
Okay. Tucked in shirt. We've got the tie on. No. Okay. No, not that because I think I know the answer. Okay. Button up shirt, no tie, tucked in or untucked?
Button up shirt.
Yeah.
No tie.
No tie.
Tucked in.
Or untucked?
Depends on the pants.
Oh, hey, right. Last one I got here is pass or shoot.
Pass. I'm a pass guy.
Pass guy.
Yeah. It's like the Crosby goal in the Olympics. Everybody loves the Crosby goal, and I love Crosby, don't get me wrong, but again, he got done dirty there. He did all the work.
Yeah, that's true.
He did all the work. He made that pass.
Well said.
Without AD,
Yep.
you're not getting that goal.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Been a pleasure, Abi. So fun. And again, thanks for all the things you do in small town. I mean, again, me just having this with you makes me realize, geez, like president of the Kinsmen doing all this, all the infrastructure and taking care of us. That's pretty wicked. So thanks for all you're doing. It's awesome to kind of see you and your wife invested, involved so much in raising the family here. It's we're lucky to have you.
We love this town, and it's good people like yourself that make it.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
Well, thanks again for tuning in. If you ever do come to Summerland and you want to get involved in the slow pitch tournament and have an arm wrestle, you know who to call. But anyway, come back here for more episodes on Small Town Podcast.